on, and we're live.
You always say that. You always do.
And you always have some response to it. Hello, everyone. This is Your Time Starts Now, a Taskmaster podcast. I am Joe.
And I'm Emerson. And today we are talking Taskmaster Series 5, Episode 6, Spoony Neeson.
Yes, we are.
Now that's the scripted part out of the way. Now we can just talk normally.
Yes, indeed we are. And before we get into that, we have some Taskmaster news, some actual legitimate Taskmaster news. For those who don't follow Taskmaster on social media or anything, it's been announced that they're
What are you doing?
What?
No, for those of you who don't follow Taskmaster on social media, that my "what are you doing" response was to that.
Well, then you have a bit of a delay, but I did, in fact...
Yeah, in case you couldn't tell, we're recording this from basically opposite sides of the world, so there's going to be a slight half second difference between what we say.
Yeah.
Which is why it's always been hard for us to sync up some things.
Mm-hmm. But what I was saying is that there is now a new Taskmaster streaming service. And when I say Taskmaster streaming service, I don't mean that Taskmaster is available on a streaming service like
Netflix or YouTube.
Or Netflix or Amazon or Hulu or anything like that. I mean that they've officially announced their own Taskmaster streaming service called Taskmaster Supermax Plus, which
this, to my knowledge, is the first streaming service dedicated to a single show.
Yes, it is, and it's powered by Vimeo, from what I see on the website. And as much as I like Taskmaster, I really don't want this platform to succeed.
Neither, if you think, because you think about it, this was probably the worst. It's not the worst decision, but it's definitely not a smart one.
No, it's an incredibly smart business decision, but I don't like it because
it's only smart if accessing Taskmaster was really difficult. But if you think about it, in the UK, it's on all four already, which is a streaming service.
Well, no, but I read a couple news articles related to this. It's not aimed at UK audiences. This is aimed at American and Canadian and other foreign market individuals who do not have access to all four or whatever Dave's streaming service was. This is made for people in foreign markets who want to watch Taskmaster. And the problem is that if this service were just Taskmaster with a Vimeo window playing and an ad in front of it, I'd be fine with that. Vimeo kind of sucks, but I'd be fine with that. The problem is that this is a paid service. It is $6 a month or $50 a year.
Fucking hell. For one TV show?
For one TV show. Now,
For one TV show that has barely more than 100 episodes.
Yes, and there is some rumor that it will expand to include all the international editions and the including the Comedy Central version that as of right now is only legitimately available behind a paywall on Comedy Central's website and that sort of stuff. But the problem is that streaming isn't, and I have stronger opinions on this, but I really don't want to make a whole fuss about this. Streaming isn't fun anymore. Streaming is annoying to intolerable nowadays because what they've basically done is streaming has turned into cable television round 2. 5 years ago, if I wanted to watch on net, if I wanted to watch 3 separate shows, Shetland, which was a BBC drama that was marketed as a Netflix original, Daredevil, which was a Netflix original, and Star Trek The Next Generation.
All the Marvel Netflix shows, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Luke Cage are coming to Disney+.
That is what I was going to say. If I'd wanted to watch those in 2015, I could have watched them all on Netflix, Daredevil is an actual Netflix original and is being moved to Disney Plus. The Next Generation is leaving American Netflix next month and is going to Paramount Plus. Actually, it is going to. Is it Paramount Plus? Yes. Yes, it's they changed the name because it used to be CBS All Access. Now it's Paramount Plus. It's a bad app. I don't have it because actually
I
the
don't.
only thing I would want to watch on it was Star Trek, and I'm not paying a service just for Star Trek.
You. I don't.
Finally,
I don't. Sorry, can I chip in?
yeah,
I don't think because like there aren't a. We don't. There's not as many like streaming services here, like worldwide streaming services here in the
yeah,
UK.
obviously,
Obviously, you've got your Netflix, you've got your Disney Plus. BBC iPlayer has pushed itself more as a streaming service with more original content just found on the iPlayer.
yeah. But the problem is that BBC
Um,
iPlayer is more or less free. It's
well,
subsidized by the television
you
license.
need to you need to have a TV license to access it.
Yeah,
Although TV
but
licenses are not really, no one really seems to want one right now.
nobody does want one. But as far as I'm aware, you get a TV license by buying a television, and
This
then
is
you
why
just pay for that.
this is why something like All 4 is so successful. It's why putting Taskmaster on All 4 was on Channel 4 was the best move, because Channel 4, and as a result All 4 has marketed itself as the UK's biggest free streaming service, which it
Yeah.
is. Obviously there's ads on it, but that's a small price to pay. It means you could just take a break from whatever you're doing and go on your phone for a bit. There's no problem with that. Something like, because we don't get Hulu in this country, we don't get Paramount Plus in this country to my knowledge, and the only thing I would have any interest in watching on Paramount Plus would be South Park post COVID,
Yeah, it's so
which I have
the,
seen post COVID,
let me give you the
and I just
breakdown of
watched it pirated.
let me give you the breakdown of what I would if I wanted to watch all of the things that I am interested in right now legitimately or not on YouTube. I would need to have Netflix, Hulu, Paramount Plus, Amazon Prime Video,
Oh yeah, Amazon
BritBox,
Prime
which
Video, that's a
is
good one.
BritBox, which is a streaming service that is only consisting of British shows, like,
Yeah,
for
I know
example,
BritBox.
the BBC crime drama Shetland, which was yanked off of Netflix because fuck you.
Also, there's some shows
Also,
on BritBox that are only available in the UK, which makes even less sense.
yeah. Also, fun fact: Broadway HD is a thing that exists. I've never heard of it except that YouTube has recommended me clips from the Goes Wrong show, which is really funny. If you haven't seen it, there's a lot of clips
I
on YouTube.
I've seen it. I've
It-
seen the first
yeah,
series. I
I
tried
can't
what.
watch it in the US legally unless I want to pay for some obscure Broadway nerd themed streaming service that I'm sure, nobody watches. And so I honestly don't watch anything anymore. I really don't.
Remind me
Like
next series to make a jingle for a segment called Joe Rants.
yeah, sure. Um I don't watch anything anymore. And
You
Taskmaster
get all the
Super
segments, Joe, and that's not fair.
well, you don't talk as much. Talk a lot. And
I can't, because when you start talking, you just keep going and going and going and going and going, and it's really hard to get a word in.
well, then you need to come up with your own bits in the middle of this cuz do you have any thoughts on Taskmaster Supermax Plus?
Okay, let me say what I think. I think, particularly to me and you and our respective countries, this is exceedingly pointless.
Mhm.
It's overpriced. It doesn't offer nearly as much content as you should get for that, paying that sort of money. Even if they moved all the foreign Taskmaster shows, that's only about 10 shows on this service. You are paying as much for a month as Netflix and Disney Plus, which have thousands maybe even tens of thousands of shows on them, all for that much money. I get that Taskmaster is. It's not a small show, but it's not a big show. It's sort of like. Could you call Taskmaster a cult following show?
From everything I've seen about it in the news, I'd say that it's in the mid range of what a cult following could be.
Because the thing is, it's a show that's gained huge popularity, not like overtaking levels of popularity, but massive levels of popularity outside the country where it's produced, when it
It's like
really wasn't intended to be.
it's like Top Gear in like 2007 because
When the
Top
whole
Gear
world was watching it.
well, Top Gear was never intended for outside of the UK audience, and
Yeah.
but once Clarkson, Hammond, and May started going, they got big popularity outside of outside of the UK just by it appearing on like you know BBC News playing in a bar in Calcutta and that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
I mean, they're now on Amazon Prime now, which much more
Again,
accessible over the world.
yeah, provided you are willing to pay for Amazon Prime, which that's
I
the
mean, I
other
get a
thing.
student discount for Amazon Prime, and even when my Amazon Prime account no longer becomes viable, I can just mooch off one of my parents's when it comes to watching streaming things.
Yeah, no, that's the thing is
And by the way, I barely even use Amazon Prime, even
no,
for watching Clarkson, Hammond, and May shows.
that's the other thing. It's just it's entirely cooled my desire to watch this much media because because the other problem is that with streaming, now that everyone's yanking their content off of any platform that's not theirs, a lot of these content platforms are making their own content, and all of it is garbage. All of it is charitably what I would refer to as shovelware.
When do you think Netflix will reach a point where it's just shows made by Netflix?
Oh, probably within 4 or 5 years, but I am going to, in Netflix's
What about
defense,
shows that
I
shows that are very
Net,
popular because like something like Friends is boosted because of Netflix.
oh, that's right. Friends is on Peacock now. I forgot about Peacock. That's NBC's streaming service.
Yeah, but we don't get American channel streaming services here in the
No, no,
UK.
I
So
I
when
know, but what I'm
I
saying,
mean, even if Friends gets taken off of Netflix, it'll probably get taken off US Netflix, but not the UK Netflix
I
because
don't
Friends
think
is
it's
fucking.
on Netflix anymore. That's what
Let
I
me
was saying. I think no,
If it's
not
not
on
on
UK
Netflix,
Netflix.
I will eat my micro. If it's not on UK Netflix, I will eat my microphone.
Oh, that'll be a fun sound. But no,
Oh, the Lego
there's so
Batman
many.
movies come to UK Netflix.
Oh, joy, a Lego Batman movie. I think most of what they make nowadays for Netflix and stuff like that is shovelware or the movie equivalent. Although, in Netflix's defense, a lot of times they do find foreign titles and market them as Netflix originals, except that most of them are bad. You would not
Friend,
believe how many
Friends is
how
still
many
on UK Netflix.
cool. I don't care enough to look about the US, but you would not believe how many terrible French movies I've watched recently because my dad likes to watch movies on Netflix and he has real real bad taste and all of them that he watches are bad. But it's just so I don't like streaming anymore. Streaming is bad. It's going to turn into cable 2.0, except that instead of having like instead of having like the travel channel and like the history channel, we're going to have all of these channels are mostly movies and TV shows nobody gives a shit about, and I'm going to end up watching YouTube anyways because some of the best content creators I've found in the last 5 years are all on YouTube making stuff, if not for free, at least stuff that is supported by sponsorships within their own ecosystem. And I don't give a shit. Also, my favorite thing is that Taskmaster Supermax Plus is being marketed as an ad-free experience, which is really annoying because A, they don't have a non-ad free thing, and B, I can't remember where in the press release it said this, but it was, if you still like ads, we're keeping the episodes on YouTube up, which makes me think that they've never heard of AdBlock Pro or AdBlock or any ad blocker ever. Which I have it on my desktop. I and all my other computers. I don't see ads on the internet that much anymore, which is really annoying because I have to figure out how to put one on my phone. But and
When do you
I
want to talk
just
Taskmaster this episode?
in a minute. Uh, but I just am really. It pisses me off a little bit because I don't. This seems like such a good thing, but it's just gonna. It's either going to implode in on itself, which I hope, but I hope that doesn't hurt Taskmaster the show. But if it does really well, then in 5 or 10 years' time, when we're all bitching about having to get like our subscription to
Taskmaster
Friends.
Supermax Plus will become so popular that it'll buy Disney Plus and then Netflix and then
No,
Fox and
no.
then
What I'm no.
Pornhub.
What I'm annoyed about is that in 5 or 10 years we're going to be bitching about how we have to get a subscription to Friends Tube or Seinfeld Vision or whatever they're going to call it, and everyone's going to say, "Oh yeah, Taskmaster's the one who did it first." And I'm really annoyed by that. This is not how I want to consume media. Which also, here's the best part: they are not putting any more episodes up on YouTube. Is what I get out of this. So when I think they're finishing season 12 right now. When season 12 goes up on YouTube, that is it. That is it for me to watch that is for me to watch without pirating. So I'm
Well,
going to have
I don't think they said they'd stop posting episodes to YouTube.
no. That is they are keeping the old episodes up, but they are not putting up more. And if I am wrong, please do tell me in the comments. But I am almost certain that they are not putting up any more Taskmaster episodes online and outside of this platform, which is the only other reason why they'd be doing that. Because why would you put up your content for free versus on a space where you can gatekeep people to paying you $6 a month? I don't understand that, and I don't really think they would. So I'm going to just have to pirate chunks of it, I guess. Find out how to do that. I really don't pirate anything because I'd just
Like
rather not
here's
watch it.
I'm looking at the Instagram page, and they've applied to a couple of comments, and someone asked, "Does this mean it's coming off UK TV and all four?" Taskmaster has replied, "No changes to any other platforms."
No. They're not taking it off of television in the UK.
They've said, someone else has asked, as long as YouTube still gets it, it will stay on YouTube. Don't worry.
It will stay as in the old episodes, because I was reading about that on Reddit or Facebook. They're really not doing the rest of it. They're not doing anything else. Let me see if I can find it in the Taskmaster subreddit. What does it say? Does it? God damn it! There was like a splash page, and now it doesn't have it. But I don't think they're doing this. So
I need to look at this in a bit more detail because honestly,
yeah,
I never really just gave it much. I never gave this much thought because honestly, it doesn't really affect me. I know
yeah,
that's
no,
really that's really selfish of me because they say that ignorance is bliss, but
no, you're fine. I'm just really, really annoyed because actually I'm going through the commentary. I
if
haven't
they had
found
to do
exactly.
if they had to do anything like this, Maybe put it on BritBox for America.
Oh God, please don't make me buy BritBox. I'd rather it just be on goddamn Netflix. Like worldwide release on Netflix.
Well, that I said BritBox because Netflix is unlikely because a lot of, like you said, a lot of British shows are now getting ported to BritBox.
Well, no, that's because most British shows is code for the BBC or ITV. Or Channel 4 like produce stuff
Are there any
produced
Channel 4
uh,
shows on still on Netflix?
I don't know, there might be, but the thing is that like a lot of these shows that are produced and owned by the BBC, the thing with Taskmaster is I believe it's produced and made by Alex Horn and Avalon Productions, so
I
they
mean,
could
there
put
are
it wherever they
several.
wanted.
There's Dairy Girls, Come Dine With Me, IT Crowd. All these shows are on Netflix. There's a couple of others, but yeah. Oh, I just thought I have something I want to say. This is not really related to the Taskmaster streaming service, though. But I
Yeah,
want to say it quick because I don't want this episode to go longer than it needs to be. I
yeah.
finally
I'm
got
sorry if
round. No, it's all right. I get why you wanted to talk about this. I finally got round to watching Greg Davies's Netflix special, You Magnificent Beast. 4 years it's been on Netflix, and only now did I finally finish it.
Hmm.
And I just want to
How was
say, it's it's pretty good. It's pretty average Greg Davies stuff. I just want to say though, like the last 10 minutes with, have you seen it?
I haven't. I don't really.
I just want to say
Again,
though
I have
that I
a
would.
Netflix subscription. I don't use it basically anymore.
Okay. The last like 10, if you've seen the Netflix special, listening audience, the last 10 minutes with the Welsh folk song, I genuinely cannot think of I cannot think of many moments where I have laughed harder in my 20 nearly 21 years of existence have I laughed at that Welsh folk song moment.
I think the
Literally.
most I've ever laughed in anything from a comedy show is actually The Last Leg did a bit like this is 5 years ago because I did find a way to use a VPN to get into 4OD and would watch The Last Leg on reruns before I got tired of putting in that much effort. And they were doing a bit on like it was some political related thing where it was like these are who the Tories are saying are scum, and it's like children and the pensioners. And I don't remember what it was they were doing, but they were just yelling scum at old people, and I actually fell over laughing so hard. Which is
I'm not going to soundbite the Welsh folk song moment because I genuinely want people listening, if they've not seen it, or if they have seen it, to go back to the special and listen to it. Because genuinely, I was laughing so hard, my sides hurt and my eyes watered. Anyway, Taskmaster.
any yes. Anyway, last thoughts on Taskmaster plus thingy. I hope it fails. If you buy episodes on YouTube via the Google Play app, according to someone in the comments on the Reddit post, it's cheap. It's cheaper to buy all of them individually than it is to use Taskmaster Streaming Plus for 2 years. It's like $135 to do it for 2 years versus like 72 a month if you do it versus 72 a year if you do it monthly.
You can tell we're not
So
an official podcast because we wouldn't be talking shit about the streaming service if it
yeah,
was
that's
official.
why we're not an official podcast.
Anyway,
If we were an
please,
official podcast, I'd be yelling at Alex about this. Anyways, on to the
Joe,
episode.
yeah,
Spoonie Neeson.
Spoonie Neeson. Banter. Alex is wearing a bandana because he wants to improve his look. He now also wants to be known as a bandana guy. Greg allows Alex to wear his bandana. Very briefly before the episode, me and Joe debated whether we should refer to Alex as bandana guy for the rest of the episode. And I came up with the idea that we should, the original idea that we should refer to Alex as bandana guy throughout this episode, and the first person to not do so has to do a forfeit next episode. Joe shot this idea down as though it were a deer and he was a hunter.
Way to call me out, man. I said that I don't like to gamble and I don't like doing stupid shit if I
Well,
lose a
literally,
bet.
before I'd even finished telling you my idea of the forfeit, you were like, "No, no, Emerson, we are not doing forfeits. Okay, shut the fuck up."
I didn't say shut the fuck up and fuck you for doing the American accent in the middle of that. But
I want to hear your
I'm
British accent someday.
no. I really would have to practice because I don't know what it sounds like outside of my own head, and I don't want to find out.
Hmm.
So, but
Anyway, we haven't discussed this in advance. Who's doing prize task?
um, did I do it last time? No, I have to
I,
do it then.
okay. Yeah.
Then yeah, so coming into the prize task, before we do that, floral shirt count is 1. Sally's wearing a dress with flowers on it. The prize task is bring in the best thing that you have made yourself. Nish starts off with a solid entry for the Taskmaster 7 t shirt. It's a t shirt he made where he edited the faces of all the contestants and Greg and Alex onto a scene from something. I didn't really pay attention to what it was,
I
and
think
then
well, he branded it the Magnificent Seven, which was a movie on
might have.
Netflix with Adam Sandler that failed abysmally. I
I
mean,
think the
in
Magnificent
terms
Seven
of
was a
rating.
remake of a much better movie, and I'm going to look like a classless fuck up if I don't look that up.
Although I found out that the frontman from Squid Game was in the Netflix Magnificent Seven.
The Magnificent Seven is a 1960 Western film directed by John Sturges in the style an old west remake of Akira Kurosawa's 1954 film Seven Samurai, which Adam Sandler did a shitty remake of. Anyways, it does look somewhat like that. It's a fun shirt. Nish apparently had a very awkward conversation with the guy at the t-shirt printing shop when he had it printed out.
Called Snappy
Um,
Snaps.
Snappy snaps. I don't know. I really like it. I like this is actually going back with the with Osmond from Richard Osmond from a couple seasons ago. He had a similar novelty T-shirt where it was the Osmonds because it was his face superimposed over the
Yeah.
group the Osmonds. I really liked that. I really like this. Um, Onwards to Mark Watson, who has a 4,000 piece jigsaw puzzle of Greg's face. It took him 26 hours to get a third of it, and it is still unfinished when presented. So obviously not the best thing. However, it Greg did say that it gave him a bit of an erection when it was mentioned, which will come in right now when we talk about the next thing. Ashling has a, and this is a bad transition. Ashling apparently likes to make vegetarian sausage rolls that taste like meat, lie to her guests when she feeds it to them, and then tells them at the end of the night that they were vegetarian. She brought some in, and apparently they're in the image of Greg's flaccid penis, which only she only
That
says
explains
that.
why she used cocktail sausages.
Yes, and that she only said that after Greg had eaten it, and while it was midway into Alex's mouth. So, so there is that. That Alex has a very wonderfully like, should I be horrified or not expression.
Yeah, I was just looking.
Then
Sorry, I want to make this so incredibly brief. I was looking up more stuff about the Supermax Plus online, and it took me to an article called "The 100 Best Taskmaster Tasks Ranked: From Watermelon Gluttons to Taxi-Driven Peas."
oh goody, what do they have as the? What's the number one and what's the 100?
100 is the Tastic task from Series 8, Episode 2, which we're yet to talk about. Task number 1, I have a feeling it's one we have talked about. I'm seeing it for the first time. Oh, no, I was wrong. Actually, it's one that's coming up in a couple episodes' time.
Is it Song for a Stranger?
It is Song for a Stranger.
That, yeah, I believe that. That's a great task.
I think we should have a bonus episode after Champion when we do Champion of Champions, where we go through this list and
That would
just
be actually really fun to talk about. Yeah.
yeah, it'll probably be about 3 hours long.
Oh God.
But other
Anyways,
than slapping it in the video editor and adjusting our voices a little bit, I'll do no editing to it. So you can't ask me to put
okay.
in any sound bites for it.
Okay, cool. Onwards to what Sally did as her prize. She brought in a bird bath, which is 3 plastic flowers duct taped to an upturned plunger.
Yep.
It's a very bad showing. I don't. I really thought that she was going to, because she built it up saying it was really easy for me to make. I really thought the joke
Also,
was
I
going to
should
be
say,
that she
by the
brought
way, I
in.
have a stuffy nose.
Yeah, we never would have noticed, Emerson. I really thought that Sally was going to like bring in one of her children, if she, because that's something that you made yourself. Really had a little bit of help, but yeah, and then finally we get to Bob. Can we please play the soundbite of him describing it? Because there's no way that I can do it justice.
We can play the soundbite, but we'll have to stop after the description because ultimately everything that comes after it is pointless. Audibly.
I'm going to describe what it looks like, but we
Okay.
do need to.
3, 2, 1.
Hi, yeah, mine is hi. It's a sausage or pork pie presentation unit, and I made it to encourage my children to eat the cheaper meat.
Okay, go.
I love the comment about the cheaper meats. Anyway, so this is some sort of toy elephant duct taped to a toy tricycle. Maybe it was a toy elephant riding a tricycle in the beginning, and it moves around. I guess it's a pullback thing. The elephant is looking up, and its trunk is extended vertically upwards towards the sky.
Like an
And
image where
when
it would balance a ball on the end of its trunk.
yeah, except this
Don't
time
keep
there's a
animals.
rotate.
Don't keep animals in circuses for our entertainment. They don't belong there.
Okay. Anyways, the elephant has a stick coming out of the trunk to which a sausage is attached that spins around. And the funny thing is that this toy is not geared very well. So when you pull it back and release it, it goes like the clappers, and the sausage spins around so quickly it's but a blur as the thing rolls very quickly from one side of the shot to the other. It
Glad to see
is.
you've been reading your Shakespeare.
I just talk like this normally, Emerson. What are you talking about? Anyways, it is as per everything else that Bob
You
Mortimer.
talk like an American who's been watching who only watches English TV.
I really don't, though, which is the funny thing. But anyways,
Also, are we at the series point of in the show yet where you're seeing all this for the first time?
we might be, but I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe I only missed like the last episode. A lot of this is new to me, but a lot of this isn't. So I'm not sure if maybe I just have seen large chunks of this in compilation videos, but not all of it. Because I definitely don't remember seeing. Because there's like a best of Bob Mortimer clip that has a shitload of stuff from this episode, and I realize this might be from before I've seen it because like all of the first person tasks except for Bob's were new to me.
Oh,
So I
really?
think we're getting to, but I don't remember if I saw it and just forgot them or if this is just new. We're getting definitely close though, to the point where I have never seen any of these.
Wow.
It might be this episode. I'm not actually certain. But Greg gives Mark fifth place because it's funny. Sally gets fourth because she put in zero effort. Nish gets third place because it's just a t-shirt. Ashlyn gets second, and Bob gets first. Drop the Taskmaster Joe theme if you could.
Taskmaster Joe.
There we go. It's very similar to what Greg did, but I'm giving Mark fifth place because it is an incomplete puzzle and it's also very funny.
He gave Mark fifth place anyway.
Yeah, I know. I did too. It's very funny that he put in all this effort and then he didn't get anything reward for it.
I think that's unfair. I would give Mark.
No.
Mark Watson puts in so much effort and he just gets no compensation for it. Ever.
Yeah, because he's not very good. But if he'd finished the puzzle, it would have been first place. Or if he'd sold it as an incompleted puzzle because it looks very modern arty. If he'd sold it as a modern art piece made out of an incomplete puzzle, I'd have gone for it. But he didn't. So I won't. Sally gets fourth place because, again, no effort. Aisling gets third place because I have no strong opinions about a sausage roll, vegetarian or otherwise. I believe we have talked about my opinions on vegetarian foods, which, to briefly recap, I don't see the point of vegetarian foods that taste like meat. If I'm eating a vegetarian food, I'd rather it taste like a vegetable. I eat meat because I like meat. I don't want lies. Anyways, Bob gets second place because it's the work of an insane person and it's really funny. But I'm going to give first place to Nish because I really like I like that sort of thing. I like novelty t-shirts in that sense, especially ones that you've made yourselves. I don't like those print on demand t-shirts, so seeing one that's like clearly been homemade is really nice.
I guess.
And that's it.
On to the first VT task. Balance Alex on a seesaw. So the seesaw is...
Would you like the verbatim task?
Do I have a choice?
No. Balance Alex. You have 10 minutes to place your counterweight at your end of the seesaw. You may not use humans to balance Alex. Most balanced Alex wins. Your time starts now. Thanks again to taskmaster.info for giving me these verbatim quotes.
Okay, so let me describe the setup for this task. I'm going to try and be a bit more like Joe and describe the task in a bit more detail. So we've got a seesaw. At one end of the seesaw is a chair, which is what Alex is going to sit on when it comes to balancing whatever's put on the other end of the seesaw. And speaking of, at the other end of the seesaw is what I can best describe as a see-through box or crate. So basically, so they can put all the objects in and have them remain relatively stable so that they don't fall out.
Yes.
Alex will not get on the seesaw until the task is over and until the contestants are at least out of shot.
Yeah. Also, would like to point out that that this is outside in the driveway of the Taskmaster house. They're not doing this indoors, which would be really funny.
I feel like this... I get very... From one contestant in particular, I get very Wes Anderson vibes from this task.
There is a little bit of whimsy in this. I
say Wes Anderson because, he infamously likes to have all his... Well, not all of his, but as many of his shots as symmetrical as possible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, I know. I also just like to point out that nobody knows how much Alex weighs. What I was originally going to say is that nobody asks him, but Nish does ask him. But he asks him, this is like very much like bargaining with a fairy sort of territory where it's like, do you know how much you weigh? Yes. The next sentence should have been, how much do you weigh, Alex? And I feel like Nish would have gotten there. But nobody actually goes.
Alex is just a sly little devil. He'll just do...
Alex definitely follows the rules to the letter, not the spirit. And it's definitely one of those things where if you are at least mildly familiar with the Fae mythology out of like various Celtic religions, Celtic areas, you're going to be a little bit ahead of the curve, or maybe even like the stereotypical like ask a genie for a wish. You have to be very specific, sort of thing. You've got if you're aware of that, you'll do better on this show because Alex is very specific in what he does and does not say. In another world, he'd probably be a crackerjack lawyer.
Mark is up first, and I this is where I'm going to really, really channel my inner Joseph Zeta here, because I, for the first time in the entire history of my note taking, made note of the music that was playing.
You did too. Oh my god, I made a note of that too.
I wrote down music cue I don't think we've heard since series 1.
No, it's actually I wrote this down. This is a techno version of the old-timey music cue from series 1.
I get the thing is, when I hear the song, I think of Tim Key running in the rain.
Yeah, no, it is that music cue, but the music cue from series 1 was just like a remix of the same track. Like they just sort of like sped it up, slowed it down, cut it back and forth. This one adds like an almost electronic element to the song as Mark like fills the crate with his stuff. And I'm so glad you noticed that. Growth. Yes.
Well, I said I was going to channel my inner Joseph Zeta. And
yes.
Sorry, I'm just straightening up a bit. Look, here we are. Anyway, I'll talk about Mark and Sally together because they were shown together. Obviously, we've got
Mark, Nish, and Sally were shown together.
Oh yeah, sorry, my bad. Mark is by himself, and he starts by guessing how much Alex weighs by picking him up, and then he uses. Mark gets the following things and puts them on the crate end of the seesaw. He puts a microwave, a bowl of bananas, a vacuum cleaner, and a metal stool, which we've seen some contestants, I think mainly Sally, stand on a couple of times. And that's what he uses to hopefully balance Alex. Greg points out Mark's genius at going for a bunch of bananas in a very light-looking metal bowl when he thought that the microwave was not going to be heavy enough. If the bananas were like the last thing Mark had put in, it would be more right, because it's thinking like,
yeah,
he's got all these heavy items. He might need just something relatively light, and he'll probably be there. But no, he's out of the 4 things, the bowl of bananas is the second thing he puts in,
yes.
Which I find particularly weird. They're all. Should I just say whether or not it balanced Alex or not? Because they show all the contestants doing their things.
I actually wrote everything down so that we could talk about what they did, and then later we'd come back and do it all again and talk about it, how they actually did it. But it's up to you.
I think I'll just I'll come back to it because we've got a nice surprise in this episode, and I actually want to use a screenshot from this moment as the episode's thumbnail.
Okay. Yeah, it's really funny, this bit.
Anyway, I was wrong. It's not Sally and Mark who are paired together. It's Sally and Nish. So Sally also starts by picking Alex up, while Nish asks Alex if he knows how much he weighs. Obviously, we know that Alex says yes. And then Nish delivers one of my favorite lines.
To the shed!
Yeah. Oh, my favorite Nish line is actually from later on in this episode.
Yeah, I'm saying this isn't my favorite Nish line, but it is a line that I like just for no real reason.
Yes. Although I will also say that my notes do include Nish makes innovative noises, because as he struggles and strains to put stuff into the transparent crate, because Nish makes a variety of noises, and these are really funny. Because at one point he tries to like pull down on the thing to guess how heavy it is, and he just makes this really funny straining sound.
Anyway, so Nish runs off to the shed, as does Sally, and Nish comes back from the shed with some buckets and a cricket bat, I think, while Sally returns with a plastic roller which Hugh Dennis used to knock over some ducks not too long ago. And a tire that we're yet to see.
I think you fill the roller with water, and it's supposed to like flatten the dirt for when you plant grass.
Oh yeah, it's like because I know like with steamrollers they're meant to flatten like concrete and stuff.
Yeah, this
But
is what's known as a lawn roller. I've never actually
okay,
used one
putting
myself.
water in it makes sense because without water it doesn't look like it would be heavy enough to do anything.
Either that, or it's like solid metal, and it might be a lot heavier than it looks. Nish
It's
actually
definitely made of plastic on the outside. I could just tell by looking at
Nish
it.
actually grabs this too. He just grabs it later, and
Oh
it's
yeah,
not shown on
so
camera.
so Nish puts these buckets and a cricket bat, and he also does get the roller. And Alex does help both him and Sally get their things into the crate. And yeah, so Sally also puts a roller and tire in, and she also goes into the caravan and brings out some plastic fruit, and she chucks
Yeah,
those in along with the other two things, and she taps out there while Nish taps out at the buckets, cricket bat, and roller.
yeah.
Next up is Bob. Um,
Who does
Bob
the
gets
basic caveman approach?
he just takes the stone plinth out and throws it in, and then he
Stone
moves
plinth
the.
out of the house. Out of the house
Where
should
would
be
the
mentioned.
stone plinth be in the house?
I think it's like holding up a flower or something, like a vase or something in the house. He definitely carries it out the front door.
I'll just say, if I had a stone plinth like that, I would probably be using it for something in the garden because it looks
Uh,
more like a garden ornament. I think.
it's very decorative. I would definitely. I'm trying to remember where I've seen it. If you know where that plinth came from, please do leave it leave it in the comments or email us at ytsnpod@gmail.com.
Are you okay?
Yes, why?
You stumbled a bit on saying that.
Because I almost said ytsnpodcast@gmail.com, and that's not our email address.
It's not. Although maybe it's our hidden secret second one.
No, it's not.
I know. I'm toying with the people. Can't you take a bit of fun?
No, because then they'll
You're the American. You're supposed to be the fun one.
no, because then they'll email ytsnpodcast@gmail.com, and the email won't go through.
Well, we won't know
I
because
thrive on
we won't know because we won't get emails from it.
I thrive on engagement. People don't email me.
Anyway,
enough.
what Bob does is he moves the little stand slightly lower back so that the plinth has a slightly lower starting point.
Yeah, I should. It should be mentioned that the box actually can move forward and backwards on the
track
on the seesaw, which nobody else guessed.
And Bob proclaims that will balance Alex, and also Bob Aisling is shown by herself.
Yes.
Not the first time we'll be seeing that this episode. She thinks Alex is heavy, and so she gets Alex's car, and they tie some string between the gap between the two windows and the crate end of the seesaw.
Yeah, Alex drives a Ford C-Max, and in automotive terms, what she does is she wraps it around the B and C pillars of the car, or maybe just the B
Can I just say, this is the most family-looking car I've ever seen.
That's because you're in England and you don't have really big cars. The C-Max is a minivan, but there's a lot more style minivans that I've seen. Although I do appreciate that Alex has his kid's car seat in the front seat of the minivan because you can see it in the passenger seat. Which you're not supposed
I thought that was cute that you could see.
You're not supposed to put it there, though. I will say, maybe his kid's old enough that they can sit up there, but you're supposed to put them in the back.
My parents wouldn't let me sit in the back of the car for a very long time. No, I mean, my parents wouldn't let me sit in the. My parents would only let me sit in the back of the car until about maybe 7 years ago. I was allowed to sit in the front.
Well, yeah, then you'd be 13. The reason
the thing is, I'm the tallest person in my family. I can only sit in the back for so long.
Well, the reason why you're not supposed to put kids in the front seat is that when the airbags go off, they're more likely to get injured because airbags fire at like several hundred miles an hour, if not more. And so if you're a lot of times people break their noses as adults. So having a kid with a not fully like especially like a young child with a not fully formed skeleton, that can actually do some serious damage.
Damn.
That's interestingly enough, actually, to talk on cars for just a moment, we actually had a massive recall over the last 5 to 6 years where in just about every car manufacturer in the country, because they bought airbags from a company called Takata. I don't know if this reached Europe, but Takata's airbags had this problem where the propellant in them would degrade over time, and it would explode wrong if it goes off. And so instead of having an airbag go off in your face to cushion you from the impact, it would send shards of plastic into your face at 400 miles an hour, and then you die. So, yeah, that's a massive recall that's still going on.
Anyway, shall we talk about scores? We're 50 minutes in, and we've not finished the first task. So,
well, we haven't gotten to how they balanced Alex yet.
Yeah, exactly. I'm about to say, Alex is too heavy for 4 out of the 5 of them.
Well, I'd say he's too heavy for 3 of the 5. Ashling's just didn't work.
Yeah, that's true. But the one person who is actually manages to almost balance Alex perfectly is none other than Mr. Nish Kumar.
Shock, amazement, horrified gasping.
Yeah. So Nish gets 5 points, Sally 4, Aisling 3, Bob 2, and Mark 1, based on how far out they were from countering, equaling Alex's weight.
Well, Greg said he was scoring on technique. Also, I'd like to give a very fun shout out to Aisling, who tied the rope around Alex's car very well. It should have worked fine, and Alex sat on it, and the rope stretched, and then it just failed totally.
No, but this is what I want to use as a screenshot for the episode's thumbnail. The scoreboard with Nish Kumar being in first place for the first, and I think pretty much only time this series.
Yes. Also, I think we should know, because I don't think we said it, Alex is 14 stone at the time of this recording. So that was what they were going up against. Mark's weight was 3 stone. Sally's was 8 stone. Nish's was 10, which is the closest to it. Bob's they measured in kilograms for some reason. So it was 32 kilograms versus 89 kilograms of Alex. And then Alex's car is 220 stone. So Aisling did way over there, but it almost worked. That's all I got for that. Onwards to the next task.
Yeah,
only
you're
an hour
taking
in.
this one. Yeah.
Yes.
Please, can we just breeze through these
With
somewhat?
this camera strapped to your head, record the most incredible footage. You have 10 minutes to plan your footage and 10 minutes to record it. Your time starts now.
This is such a fun task. I love this.
Everyone gets this task. They stand out by the front door, and the task is delivered on a zip line with a little GoPro on it. It hits Aisling in the head.
Oh yeah, I forgot. It hits Aisling in the face.
It hits Aisling in the face, and then also we get this wonderful line from Bob where he's like, "I'm not going to have a poo. I'll have to do something else." And we get this absolutely amazing exchange in the studio where Greg tries to determine why this was Bob's first thought.
Should we just play the soundbite?
Yeah, we can. All
right.
It's often our contestants' initial impulses that are a real window into the soul, I find. Bob.
Yeah.
What's going to be so incredible about that? Do you do some classic?
Well, funny you should ask, because I have a little problem, which means my anus is too high. And
Whoa.
For example, you would sit like this.
I would.
Yes? I have to approach it this way. I have to reverse it. Or it will all just go over the back of the seat and the toilet. I mean, I personally think they should reverse the toilet. If you're like this on the toilet, you'd have a little shelf. So all I was thinking, Greg, was that if I got a shot of it in profile, you would be astounded, you know, would have been
Oh, my God.
especially if it was one of the quicker days.
And everyone's face in that scene is so wonderful because as Bob explains this more, you've got on one side, you've got Aisling, who looks increasingly horrified at the entire thing. Mark Watson is just totally baffled at like you can tell that Mark is going through his internal schematic of the human body and is trying to figure out what horrible genetic malady Bob has that made that happen. And then meanwhile, over at the other side of the room, you've got Greg, who's looking increasingly fascinated. Alex is trying not to laugh. Nish is on the ground, and Sally is about 2 strong gasps away from falling out of her chair sideways. It is possibly one of the best reactions from on the stage ever. Bob is sitting there just talking on and on like this is just normal for him, which it is because he's Bob Mortimer. And I just absolutely love everything to do with that scene. It's so funny. And I believe that it was said somewhere that he made all of this up for a joke, because I don't actually think it's possible for your asshole to be in your lower back. But goddamn, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. But that does beg the question, what the fuck was Bob thinking of when he said that in the first place? The world may never know. Anyways, we start off with these videos with Mark Watson, who is it starts out with a POV of a dirt bike riding down a street with Mark screaming every now and then as it goes around corners. And it seems very weird because the dirt bike noise is just as loud as Mark screaming, which it really shouldn't be if you've ever ridden anything of that sort. Usually the screaming is much quieter than the really loud, partially unmuffled engine directly below you. And that's because Mark is watching a video of somebody else's dirt bike ride in the room of the Taskmaster house and is screaming at the YouTube video that he is watching. He is in fact screaming while there are 8 other people in the room, including Alex, who are filming him and watching him and presumably laughing at him on the inside. It's hilarious. This is like just a character study of Mark Watson, the individual, right here, who is like the picture perfect stereotypical nerd. Following that, we do have Took, starring Spoonie Neeson, a low-budget GoPro head-mount filmed version of Taken featuring Aisling's hand as the villain, Aisling's left hand as the villain, and a spoon with a drumstick taped to it with angry eyes on it that is Spoonie Neeson, who fights this guy.
A parody of Liam Neeson, in case you couldn't see.
This is a parody of the Liam Neeson film Taken. I forgot that might not be a universal cultural reference. I apologize. The Taken series, which has produced 5 movies, which if you accumulate them into one single film, you'll get maybe a 20% on Rotten Tomatoes because they're all terrible. Following this, we get Bob Mortimer's film. And my notes say merely one word. It is the word cheese. All caps with a Z instead of the S. And that is because Bob Mortimer straps the camera to his head, makes sure to get the cheese title on the screen because he's written it down on something, goes into the lab, and starts going through a box full of cheese puff-like items known in the UK as Whatsits, at which point...
Although they're called cheese puffs to avoid copyright infringement with the name.
And then Alex says it anyways. And then
Yeah.
within this, out, Bob goes in, discovers the box of Whatsits, starts digging through it, grunting like a caveman all the while for some reason.
Will this
Proceeds
be our
to go
longest episode to date for a while?
to date for a while, maybe, I don't know. But we're back on form. But anyways, Bob roots around in there for a while, discovers himself in the box, thanks to some clever camera work, is apparently disgusted by this, covers himself back up with cheese puffs, and then leaves. It's very weird. And I never liked this when I saw the compilation of Bob Mortimer stuff, just because I thought it was kind of dumb. Cut back to the wonderful soundbite. Can we just do how quickly we forget even the idea of Bob pooing out of his lower back, please?
Yeah.
How quickly we forget it, even the idea of Bob pooing out of his lower back.
Okay. Yeah.
Then,
I love this one, Nish.
yes, and then, of course, we have an ad break where we come back from it, and Greg bans anybody from saying Bandana Man or Bandana Guy. And and will punish Alex if it is said. Anyways, onwards to Nish, where we are back on form for Kumar. He does Sudoku.
Already he's set himself up for a bit of failure.
That's it. That's all he does. He does Sudoku.
Oh, I had a mini heart attack there because I thought you cut out.
No. That is all he does. Is he does Sudoku. That's it.
And he doesn't
finishes
even do it right.
He doesn't do it right. And then Greg actually pulls him aside and does his teacher voice and says, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you doing this?" And it's like, is this self-sabotage? And it's great. And we are back on form for Kumar. And then we come to
Nish
Sally.
is one of only 2 people in the entire show to have this moment.
Yes. And then we come
I think
to Sally.
we'll know who the other person is and why,
Yes.
but yeah.
We come to Sally Phillips.
Can't wait to get to Series 7.
My notes say, for Sally Phillips' entry into this, you know what, comma, no, period. I give up, period. I fucking hate art films, period. What thought process led to that, period? Because Sally Phillips decided that the best thing that she could do, and I don't even know how long she had to come up with this idea, 10 minutes to plan it and 10 minutes to record it. I don't think that was accurate. That was followed strictly to the letter. Okay, so you have to understand that it is initially very unclear what is going on. You're in
initially.
Whatever. This is very weird. Anyways, you see like a cloth covered red scene, and it slowly pans back, and you can slowly see like a little bit of someone's body, and you can hear bodily noises, and it just slowly dawns on you, oh no, she's not doing what I think she's doing. Because what you think she's doing is, it's clearly like some sort of birthing or unbirthing sort of thing, because that's kind of
Don't make me think of unbirthing, please.
That is your problem. I had to think about it already when I watched this, and it looks really weird, and it's really dumb, and you're like, oh God, please don't let it be this. But of course it is, because Sally Phillips fucked a water cooler, so why would she not do this? And
Sure, can I throw a name in the running for episode title today?
What?
The Birth of Horn.
Oh God, we could totally do that, because what happens is that when it pans out to the actual birth process being done, it is not Sally who is being birthed out of this cloth vagina that is basically what she made. It is in fact Alex, who is almost naked, who is wearing Sally's underwear to make sure that he is not naked because they're flesh colored. And he He looks like a newborn baby. He's been covered in schmutz and other such stuff that makes him look like he's just been born. I didn't need to see that. Nobody should need to see that. Alex went along with it, presumably because he's got a public humiliation kink. And then it just keeps on going with that. There is a caption that says "Baby Alex, 182 pounds," which again,
Jesus
don't
Christ.
need to see that. Alex is like crying like a baby, which commitment to the bit, I guess. And then they show us back to behind the scenes footage of this once we get back into the studio,
And
which
it's
is something
good.
that I
It's
honestly
too good.
forgot. I didn't realize this, is that the GoPro that they are using is probably a Hero 4 because it was about that time. I have a Hero 4. It don't zoom that well. You know why it don't zoom that well? Because it's an action cam. Action cams have fisheye lenses, which you can't really zoom in. So the best way to zoom in is you have to get closer. Remember, this is supposed to be mounted to your head. So how do you zoom? Sally lays on top of him and films half of this shit. This is really fucking weird.
Oh, I've thought of a great name for these. I've thought of a great name for these.
They did this in 10 minutes.
Can we call them SAlex?
That's the episode title, regardless of anything else.
SAlex.
With 2 L's.
No, because then it doesn't overlap with their names properly. And anyway, it's still got the first 3 letters of Sally's name in it.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, this is
one of the SALEX. That is the episode title.
Yeah.
SAlex.
Yeah. And I just want to point this out that I might sound like I'm done with this episode. That's because I kind of am. This is a really fucking weird thing that I wasn't expecting.
It's been made even longer by you going on about Taskmaster Supermax Plus.
Listen, if they didn't make Supermax Plus, we wouldn't have to talk about it. So that's not my fault. Anyways, what else? Yeah, I didn't like Sally's thing. Greg didn't like it either. He was very uncomfortable by it. So, but we are going to keep on through this. Greg gives Nish 1 point. He cannot separate Bob, Aisling, or Mark, so he gives them each 4 points. Sally gives 5 because, of course, that, it's incredible and how fucking uncomfortable he is, and I am. So, yeah, drop the Taskmaster Joe theme. We're going to go through this.
Taskmaster Joe.
Okay, cool. We're doing this in reverse order. Sally gets 5 points because why the fuck wouldn't she? Bob gets 4 points. Aisling gets 3 points. Drop down to Nish Kumar, who gets a single point because I am in incredible awe of how bad it is. Next down, Mark Watson, 0 points. That was terrible. Don't do that, Watson. That's dumb. I'm not disqualifying him. He just doesn't get any points. So, the Taskmaster Joe has spoken. Onwards to this next one, which I really, really like.
Do you want to talk about this one? Because it could be done.
I would love to. This was an individual task for Aisling.
I'll do duty task 3 then.
Yes. This is
task 4, sorry. Just go.
Yes. This is have your photo taken with this golden pineapple and other esteemed company. Best portfolio of pineapple photos wins. You have 6 months. Your time starts now. I love this task. I wish they'd had everyone do it because Aisling... Okay, so there's just a giant fucking gold pineapple that they were going to have Aisling lug around for 6 months. Aisling ships that thing off to her mother in Kildare, Ireland. And her mother spent 6 months carrying it around and taking pictures of it with her iPad. I guess they don't award Aisling any points because it's not any pictures with her. The task said with this golden pineapple. None of the pictures feature Aisling, I guess. No points. I would have given her points for this. Her mother, Helen, did so much. She gets a round of applause for this. I love this task because for those of you who might be new listeners, hi, we love you. If you didn't listen to our first or second bonus episode, I mentioned that I do Instagram, and my Instagram account, or one of them, is a account devoted to just posting every day a picture of some like piece of home stereo equipment in nature, in the outdoors. So I am very acutely familiar of lugging shit around with me all the time and taking pictures of it in places where it shouldn't be. And I love this task. If I had been given this task, I would have done so well with it. So well with it. I love this task. Anyways, that's it. She doesn't get any points. Alex actually mentioned it went wrong for the show, but they had to show it anyways. Task 3, Emerson, go.
Okay, now I do want to rattle through these last few tasks quite quickly because obviously we're quite pushed for time and it's 11:15 here, and I'm trying to keep these episodes short. Okay, VT Task 3. Using the flame of your cupcake, light the candle in the caravan. Also, bonus task for Mark only. You may not use any words that contain letters in the word Taskmaster. So, do you want to read the task out verbatim real quick?
Yes. Everyone except Mark. Using this flame, light the candle in the caravan. Fastest wins. Your time starts now. For Mark only. Using this flame, light the candle in the caravan. Fastest wins. Your time starts now. Also, please don't say any words containing any of the letters in the word Taskmaster.
So that's
I like how it
TASKMSTER.
Yes. Also, I would like to note that the house is set up in such a way that there are fans, bubbles,
water-based. There are air-based, water-based obstacles everywhere.
Yes.
Now I will start. Now Ashling's up first. She grabs the candle and hurries towards the door, but she opens the door so hard that the air from its momentum causes the candle to go out. So
9 seconds.
9 seconds, and Ashling's done right away. Nish is up next. He makes it through the door without the candle going out, but then he realizes there's bubbles everywhere, and he says the absolutely amazing quote,
"Oh, you bubbly fuck! The candle's gone out!"
Yeah, he doesn't even make it to the bubbles, and they play it in slow motion as well, which I love. And so Nish only does slightly better than Aisling. Sally's up next. Well, she's played at the same time as Nish. She takes a quick detour into the living room and then gets the bell jar and puts it over the flame. This is genius. And she makes it through the bubbles and the upside-down sprinkler all the way to the caravan before accidentally dropping the bell jar on the flame, causing her to fail. Bob.
She actually makes it a lot farther than I thought she should have, because when she actually went out the front door to protect it from the bubbles, she put it down on the ground and put the bell jar over it. And I was waiting for the candle to actually just use up all the oxygen in the jar and go out.
I didn't notice that. Bob does something I think is admittedly quite stupid, and he shields the candle with the task itself. Now, the task is made out of paper.
So, no, I actually think this is very smart. Nobody did what I would have done, which I'll tell you about when
all right,
well, this is actually a very interesting sort of topic, because when they transfer the Olympic flame has been burning since like the first modern Olympics in Athens in 1896, but they just pass it from like flame holder to flame holder throughout, and like from torch to torch throughout all the Olympics. So I was wondering why nobody didn't just like make like a bunch of kindling or just light the task on fire and then light it off of the candle and then bring that flame out, because that would still be the same flame. Like, actually, I was thinking about it when I was watching it. There's a hard hat on the shelf in the lab right behind him. I would have piled a bunch of paper and stuff and the task in the hard hat, lit it on fire with the candle from the cupcake, and then gone from there. Because I wouldn't have been able to.
But anyway, Bob is
nobody did that.
In spite of everything, Bob makes it past all the obstacles. He makes it to the caravan, but the doors are locked. And whatever's used to unlock it is back in the pigeonholes by the front door. So Bob has to go back.
It's a hook. It's a key on a hook.
A key on a hook. So Bob has to go back through the sprinkler with water to the pigeonholes and he still manages to keep the candle alight. And he opens the door with the key and keeps the candle alight somehow despite not covering it. He gets into the caravan and he lights the candle very, very quickly as well. 3 minutes 5 seconds.
3 minutes 45.
No, so it's 3 minutes 5.
Alex says later on 3 minutes 45.
Yeah, but it shows 3 minutes 5 on his clock.
Maybe it took long. I listened to what it said later on in the episode. He said 3 minutes 45.
Whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is Bob was very fast. And then we've got Mark, who has the added bonus task of not being able to say any of the following words that contain any of the following letters. Taskmer.
Yes.
So Mark says, I think Mark's vocabulary throughout this task consists of only 2 words.
Fiddly and how.
Yeah, lots and lots of fiddly.
Which,
me saying that out loud is a bit weird.
Do you want to know something that's really funny? If you look at the candle when Mark finally picks it up, that shit is burned down to almost the end of the candle.
Oh yeah, he took forever to get started.
Mark was standing there just mentally blue screening for like 5 minutes before he actually even picked up the damn candle. Poor guy.
Mark. Oh god. But yeah, Mark doesn't get any points for his bonus task, but he does get 4 points overall because he managed to. In spite of burning his flame to basically nothing, he managed to keep it alight longer than anyone else.
Yeah, it burned out as he was leaving the house through like the side door in the living room, and
which also had a sprinkler up by it.
Yeah, all the doors had sprinklers by them, but he actually burned out. The candle didn't go out because of wind. The candle went out because there was no more candle left.
Look, I want to wrap this episode up in the next 5-ish minutes. So, Bob obviously gets 5. Mark, for keeping his candle alight the longest, gets 4. Sally obviously gets 3. Nish gets 2. Aisling gets 1. I don't think you could really argue with these scores.
Nope. I didn't have anything to say. Okay, live task. Make yourself monotone. Most monotone after 100 seconds wins. I thought they were talking about monotone voices until they got to the paints. I was like, what the fuck does paints have to do with talking?
Wouldn't it be monochrome? Or am I thinking of something else?
No, I guess monotone is in one tone of paint.
Oh, okay.
Which monochrome is another word for it, but I guess they wanted to be difficult or weird. But there's a bunch of multicolored paints, powders, and papers, including toilet paper. And one color for each contestant. I don't care which one is which, but it doesn't matter.
We get Ashley's red. I think Bob was blue. Nish might
Mark's
have been
green.
yellow. Nish was probably yellow, and Aisling was either pink or orange, one of the two.
Sally was purple, I think. Yeah.
Anyway, we get this great line from Nish.
Oh, shit and piss!
Yep. Nish makes a lot of screaming noises. There's really not a lot that can be like really said other than that they cannot remain white because they're all wearing white boiler suits. So they can't remain white.
I was thinking, when you said they cannot remain white, I had an image of Nish Kumar in my head saying, well, I've already got an advantage here then.
I was thinking that too. Anyway, they're wearing white boiler suits. One color.
Well, they're a bit grayish, but that's beside the point.
It has to be from the shoulders down, so they're not painting their faces again.
Aisling wins because she's covered the most. She's the only one who got a lot on her back.
Aisling dumped powder on the floor and rolled around in it.
Genius.
While everybody else was just painting themselves. Nobody got it on the back except for her and I want to say
Nish, who
Sally.
drew a belt. Someone drew a belt kind of thing.
Sally, Nish wrapped a belt of toilet paper around himself. Sally got a little bit on the back. Nish, Mark, and Aisling ended up on the floor by the time the episode was over. Aisling's hands are still bright red from the paint and the powder at the end of when they come back to the to the main set. And the scores go: Ashling first, Sally second, Mark third, Bob fourth, Nish fifth.
Which means that at the
Nish-
end of the episode, there is a tie on 18 points each. It's Bob and Sally. So we go to the tiebreaker.
Yes.
And the tiebreaker task is get the most yogurt on the middle of the target within one kick. And both
on a wall, yeah.
On a wall. And both Bob and Sally are wearing hats for some reason. I'm sure that was a part of the task. And Bob's hat, like Alex says, does look superb on him.
Yeah, it's a bowler hat. It looks wonderful.
Sally's wearing a bubble hat. And the thing is, neither of them really get any yogurt on the target. Bob kicks it from a bit of a distance, and it misses.
And it doesn't work at all.
Sally uses a ladder to climb up and sort of balances the yogurt on her foot, but the pot hits the target and then just falls off. And
can I just point something out? This is apparently... Mark Watson has mentioned this somewhere else. I can't remember where. This task he did as well. They all did it because it.
Yeah, they all do. They all do the prize tasks. I mean, they all do the tiebreaker tasks.
I've seen the video of it because someone posted somewhere. Mark got the yogurt pot directly on the bullseye from the ground. Like he kicked it. It was perfect. It is the best thing he ever did in his life. He claims. And this is substantiated by Alex. And it was never shown. Never shown. Did not count for anything.
I want Taskmaster to show all the attempts of people's tasks we didn't get to see. And even the tasks they didn't show completely. Because we know they do a bunch of practice tasks to sort of get ready. Like Doc Brown did a task where he had to skim a digestive biscuit like a pebble across some water.
Yeah.
And he
interestingly was his best task too.
Yeah. Anyway,
do you want to know what's really interesting? Phil Wang from I think next season actually had to do a couple of the season one from the season, had to do a bunch of tasks for season one as like a proof that they could actually be done. Like he was the original tester for this when they were showing it to the network.
Oh, that's right. Anyway, we have to wrap this up. Neither of them get any yogurt on the pot. So what Greg does is he asks a guy in the front row of the audience with a very patronizing laugh who should win. The guy says Bob. And naturally, Greg gives the victory to Sally Phillips. So Sally Phillips wins the episode.
Yep. And then she runs up on stage and eats one of the vegetarian sausage rolls. That's the episode.
Yeah. A rather weird way to end, I think. But yeah. I can't wait to see more of SALEX. Although there probably won't be much of it left. I mean, people have been talking about Woobar, but I honestly think SALEX trumps them all. Anyway,
I still like Mel and Hugh. They were so nice together.
Desky, oh,
The
one on the left speaks like that.
Oh my God! Let's end the episode.
I've been Emerson.
I've been Joe. Goodbye.
Ciao.